Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Five Star Revolution podcast with your host, CJ Price. We are killing the business in the podcasting world. So, subscribe to our YouTube channel right now, Five Star Revolution Podcast, and go over to Facebook and like our Facebook page, Five Star Revolution Podcast. Tonight, we have a very special guest, and he's a second generation wrestler. His name is Evan Golden. How you doing tonight, sir?
What's going on, CJ? Thank you for having me on, buddy.
Not a problem, man. Thank you for joining me here tonight on the Five Star Revolution podcast. It's a true pleasure to have you on, sir.
Yeah, thank you. This is actually my first interview ever, so let's make it a good one.
All right, I'll try my best. And hey, there's a first time for everything, and I'm pretty sure you'll have more in your down the road.
Yeah, thank you, man. Hey, I'm glad to be starting it off the right way on the revolution. That's the way to go. So,
Absolutely. So let's start from the beginning here. And as we mentioned, we know that you're a second generation wrestler.
hmm
But what's your earliest memory of professional wrestling?
so the cool thing about being a second generation wrestler is my earliest memory is maybe as early is like a young toddler, and I just remember seeing my dad up in the ring thinking like, what is my dad doing up there? Like, this is so different, because at the house he's just being himself and stuff, and then all of a sudden I'm seeing him in wrestling gear having some amazing matches. So I think my earliest memory would have to be seeing my own dad just performing, because it was just awesome to see.
So you were a pro wrestling fan growing up, correct?
I was, yeah.
So besides your dad, who were some of your favorites growing up?
So when I was around 5 or 6, TNA was just coming on, and it was at the point where they were coming on Spike. And this is an interesting answer. A lot of people don't expect this, but I was a really big fan of Jeff Jarrett. I thought that his work as a heel was just so cool, and I enjoyed the Southern style because that's where I'm from, and so naturally I enjoyed what he was doing. I also enjoyed Shelton Benjamin. He's a very underrated talent, and yeah, those are two people that I would like constantly like watch as a kid for sure.
Not to down on some of your favorites. I love um I'm sorry, who did you say your second favorite was?
Shelton
Shelton,
Benjamin.
Shelton. I love
Uh,
Shelton Benjamin. He's a great athlete, great wrestler, very underrated, as you said.
uh,
But Jeff Jarrett never drew a freaking dime. Sorry.
okay, hey, that's okay, buddy. Look, I don't know his match with Monty Brown. I think it was Final Resolution 2005. I just enjoyed like how mad he made the crowd that night. I don't know if you've seen that one, but just go see it, because they just hated him, and I've just always naturally been into the heels, So you know, but I respect your opinion. That's okay.
I'm not saying, I mean, he's a Hall of Famer. I mean,
Yeah.
Jeff Jarrett is a former world champion and he has his own podcast, more successful than my podcast. So that's great for him.
I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. This could blow up. So
So you grew up on TNA. So I'm assuming you're a young guy.
yeah, I am. I just turned 21 this past September. So
You just turned 21, finally legal to drink.
that's right. It's party time, right?
So growing up watching TNA, that's more of a hybrid style of wrestling, as you can say.
hmm
Is that your style of wrestling now that you're doing?
My style right now is a little bit of a hybrid. There's a lot of things that my dad wasn't able to do that I can. And there's a lot of things that he was able to do that I'm still having a hard time doing. But right now, it's very much a mixture of technical with a little bit of high flying. And yeah, that's it's not as drastic as a lot of these X Division people. I can't really do like, well, maybe I can do a 450 splash, but I'm not gonna find out just yet. I'm gonna make sure I'm ready to hurt my neck first before I give that a shot. But but yeah, there's some high flying in there, and I could definitely say that TNA had a big influence on that kind of style for me. So
So let's skip ahead a little bit in your life. When was that time that popped in your head? I want to become a pro wrestler.
So I always grew up seeing my dad do the work, and it was one of those things where like I always knew I've got it in me to do it too. It's not the kind of thing where I'm like, oh, I'm just gonna be a second generation because it'll make certain things easier for me or anything. It wasn't like that. I genuinely knew I know what my dad's doing and I understand the like entertainment aspect of it. So I just always knew, even as soon as I was a kid, dude, I would love to go up there and do that. And it was just a couple of years ago, right around the time AEW started, I was like, dude, wrestling, this is such a fun time for wrestling. And it inspired me not only to try it, but it inspired me to start a career of my own. Because like at first I was like, I know that since I'm part of a wrestling family, I should try it. But I got inspired to start a career out of it. So it's all in now, and I think I've started at a fun time. So
So, do you feel the pressure that you're a second generation wrestler and that you have to fill your dad's shoes, like overachieve?
yeah, that's a good question. As a second generation wrestler, there is a different kind of pressure that you have because you're expected to be a lot like your mom or your dad. In my case, I can totally understand that a lot of people could come into an event expecting to see Eddie Golden again. And the truth is, my dad is an amazing wrestler, but I've always kind of felt that maybe I should be myself. And the good news is my dad has never really pressured me himself to be like him. I'm actually really fortunate because when I first started training, there was this move that my dad was kind of known for. It was what he was doing, and it wasn't anything major. It was just something that was like a part of his move set. And I kept saying, Dad, like, a lot of people are going to expect me to do this. Like, and it doesn't feel like something I would do. And, I'm actually like, the more I try, the worse it's looking. And I just don't know what to do. And he was like, son, it's already hard enough to be a wrestler. And it's even harder to duplicate being a wrestler. Don't go out there and be like me. Go out there and be you. And that has taken a huge weight off my shoulders because even though I do believe that like naturally I'll be a lot similar to my dad in the ring, there's a lot of new things that I feel like I can bring to the table, and I think that there's something kind of cool about that. So the good news is there is a pressure, but I'm kind of happy with being myself too. So that kind of takes a lot of weight off my shoulders. So
For sure. And I can see that there can be some pressures being a second generation wrestler, trying to be like your dad or better than your dad,
mm.
and also step away from that shadow that a lot of second generation wrestlers try to step away from that shadow. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I definitely would love it to be the kind of case where people can still talk about me in the same breath as him because there's been a lot of second generation wrestlers that have kind of, like I said earlier, they gave it a shot, but they didn't go all in. They kind of, maybe they just, and I don't have any examples, but I'm sure that there are some that were like, I'm just going to use my last name and give it a shot. But unlike that, I want to be able to go all in, and I don't want to be just known as just a son, but I also want to be the golden child, Evan Golden. You know what I'm saying? So yeah.
So, when did you start training, and who was your trainer at the time?
So I started training a couple years ago. Fortunately, my dad, all throughout my childhood, was able to help. But a big primary trainer for me was Easy Money, who you might remember from ECW back in the day. He is an incredible trainer. He's from the New Jersey area, and he is just so well rounded in the ring. And he's helping what you brought up earlier helped me get more of a hybrid style because while my dad, he's able to get me a good Southern training, but EZ is just an incredible talent. I've also gotten some help from a great East Tennessee wrestler named Jeff Connolly. If you guys go on YouTube, he's got some great matches as well. So I've had a bunch of great help, and it's been a fun training experience.
I bet, man, and I do remember Easy Money from ECW. He was Another underrated talent.
Yeah, he's one of my favorites too. He's just a good pal of my dad's. They used to work each other a lot, and he's been happy enough to help me out. And he is underrated, but he's absolutely one of the best. And I hope that one day I can have a lot of the skills that he has. So
So let's talk about the character. Let's talk about the Golden Child.
yeah.
Who is the Golden Child? What is the character about?
The character is a little egotistical. As we mentioned, being a second generation wrestler, there's pressure, but I've also been afforded a lot of fortunate experiences. And so basically, the golden child is somebody that just lets it all get to his head and he thinks he's better than everybody. And is it true? I don't know. But the character thinks so. So it's a very egotistical character. The good news is whenever I am in the mood to be the baby face, I do like making the fans happy and I do want them to have a good time. But let's just say that I'm not in that kind of mood. I am going to be a little bit of a prick, and I don't think I'm going to be too sorry about it. So,
So that was gonna be my next question. What do you
uh,
like doing better, a heel or a face, and why?
you know what? Like, I've always been kind of like expected to be a heel because that's what my old man was doing. And honestly, like I love being a heel because it's very fun and I enjoy making people mad. And even if they're jealous for some reason, I just think it's funny. I must annoy people easily sometimes because I've been yelled at pretty bad at ringside. But you know what's funny though? If I had to pick, I think being a baby face though, because at the end of the day, I just want people to come out and, some people that are buying a ticket might have been having a bad day or they might be going through a rough time and they just want to escape from it. And if I'm a baby face, then and I'm able to get them behind me, I just hope that I can let them go home happy. And so I kind of, if I had to pick, I would say baby face because I know that I can get people to have a good time. And at the end of the day, that's what it's all about. So
Very good answer. And I was gonna say, being a face is hard to
yeah,
get people to like you, get people behind you, get people to cheer you, and feel bad for you when the heel is beating you up. So that's
yeah,
a hard thing to do. That's a hard thing to master in professional wrestling.
mhm.
So I applaud you for that, for being a face.
Yeah. Thank you.
So this is the portion of the podcast where I challenge the wrestler. I do this to everyone. I challenge the wrestler to cut a promo for me
Ooh,
in
okay,
character, for like 30 seconds on anything you want. You think you can do it?
I think I can. I think you should tell me when to start, and I'm gonna go off.
Okay, ready? Three, two, one, go.
You know what, CJ Price? I don't like the way you walk. And to be quite honest, I don't like the way that you talk. And the only reason that I'm on this show is to boost your ratings. And I think by the time this is all over, you should be thanking me for coming on this 5-star show because I'm the 5-star golden child, which can only mean one thing, that I was born golden. So, CJ, I'm done now. So,
That wasn't bad. That was good. That was good.
thank you.
So, do you think being a second generation wrestler backstage gives you a little bit of an advantage, or do they treat you the same?
It kind of depends where I'm at. If I'm in the East Tennessee territory, which is where my dad was real popular, the good news is I kind of get to see a lot of his friends, which are people that I grew up around. Like these are people that, kind of held me as a baby. So, they don't really choose to have any attitude or anything. But, if I'm away from that territory, some people don't even know that I'm a second generation wrestler. So I still follow all the rules and have good locker room etiquette and make sure I'm respectful because at the end of the day, life is short and we got to make some new friends and stuff and have fun. So as a second generation in my dad's territory, it's cool because I get to see a lot of old pals of mine. But elsewhere, it's pretty chilled out. I just get to be myself. So.
So, with that being said, how do you deal with backstage politics?
Man, I've been fortunate enough so far to not have any problems. Right now, I don't ask for much money at all because I just want to have in-ring experience. I just want to go out there and have a show. So fortunately, I haven't had any issues in the back with anybody. But I don't want to brag, but like I'm such a hard person to have a problem with. If somebody is trying to get political with your boy, they must be bored or something because I don't do anything, or I'm actually kind of quiet back there. So I mean, you know,
So let's talk about dream matches for a little bit.
sure.
What are some of your dream matches that you have in mind in the next, let's say, 12 to 18 months?
In the next 12 to 18 months, there is a prospect that I grew up around, and I think I could take him on in the ring. His name is Kerry Morton, which you may know is the son of Ricky Morton. And my dad has had amazing matches with Ricky over the years. And I think it only makes sense that this match with Kerry happens because, let's just face it, I mean, speaking of writing on someone's last name, I don't appreciate the way Kerry goes along with things. And I think I'm going to have to take him on in the ring. And we'll start things off friendly because, you know, I grew up around him. He's a pretty cool guy, but I think it would be a dream match because I could finally show the people that I train hard for this and I'm not writing on someone's name. And I'm not saying it's him, but I'm just saying I think Kerry would be an amazing match because he's a cool guy. But I want to see what he can do. And he's also great. You should be able to look him up on YouTube. He's on NWA, and I think he would just be a cool opponent. Um, I was supposed to face somebody by the name of Navy Van Calvin, who is very new. He might be younger than me right now, but he had to reschedule. He couldn't show up because he had some kind of issue. I think he was just scared, but you know, well, who knows? Uh, no, I'm kidding. He just couldn't show up, and I think that if we could have that match and do what we were supposed to do, it'd be really cool because he's one of those people that like on paper it looks cool. Like I think we could have a good match, and I could be wrong, but it's one of those things that it looks like it would be good, and I've seen some of his stuff on YouTube, so that's kind of a dream match. As far as like the next 12 months, I think I could have that. So,
I think you could have that as well. I think that is in your future. Kerry Morton is a nice, young, bright star, and
mm,
I think you're a young, bright star as well. So
thank you, thank you.
that match would be intriguing to see.
Yeah, and I think it's cool that it can happen because he doesn't live too far. Um, I don't know where you're living, but we're in the southeastern territory, so we could make it happen. And if it happens, I'll send you the video, and I'll send you the video of me pinning him 1, 2, 3, and we'll all laugh it off, and maybe I'll give him a rematch. No, I'm kidding.
So, have you had the privilege to step in the ring with your father in a match?
You know, I haven't had a match with him because you know, he's getting up there. Well, no, he's only 50, but he's just not been as active in the ring as he once was. I think he's kind of cooling down. But the cool thing is at my very first match, he was my manager. So technically, I have been able to share the ring with him. I've been able to share it with him, and he was at ringside rooting me on. But I haven't had a match with him yet. But the good news is we are planning on doing that at some point when he's filling up to steam. It's an odd time to be in the business with everything going on out in the world too. So I think he's waiting for things to get a little healthier and stuff. But when he does, I think the Goldens would be an amazing team. So yeah, it's going to be cool when it happens.
I will. I also love to see that match between you and your dad.
Oh yeah,
All tag
that's
team. Either way.
yeah, yeah. Well, you know, we wanted to be a tag team, but you know how it goes, CJ. You know, for some reason, fathers and sons just can't get along at some point. Somebody gets something in their head that's not right. So I think it's very possible that me and the old man might have a match at some point too, which I think would be great because hopefully I will be even better by then because you know, he's an amazing talent. You know, he's wrestled great talents. AJ Styles, Jerry Lawler. He's been in the ring with beautiful Bobby Eaton various times. Just respectable names. And if I could get in the ring with him, it's one of those things that I'm like, dude, it'd be so cool to see what we can do together. You know what I mean?
You think you can get the 1, 2, 3 over him, or
You know what? Sometimes I come off as a cocky person, and sometimes it's me, and sometimes it's my character. But you know what? My dad is an amazing wrestler, and I think it is absolutely possible that he could get me with the 1-2-3. But maybe one day, CJ, like years in the future, I can get the 1-2-3 on him. But it'll take years of training for sure. He's an amazing talent. So
Absolutely. So speaking of more training and stuff, you only been in the business about 2, 3 years now.
no, it's only been a few months. I only had my
Few
first match.
months.
Yeah, it's serious. I'm just into this, and you know, I'm still in a training. Like I still go to the ring and I still train and try to get better. And that's kind of the cool thing about it is I'm excited to see like I hope I can look back on this interview and be like, dude, I got a lot better. And it'll happen, but I don't know how long it'll take. I improve by the month, and I'm excited to see where I end up with the training. But I am still running the ropes at training for sure. So
So you're still a green baby, huh?
yeah, I'm literally a baby face. I don't even have any facial hair right now. So
I was gonna ask you. I'm not sure if this question will make any sense, but what's one thing you wish you knew that you know now when you first started training?
oh man, I wish I knew. It's funny. I've been told this all my life, and I always kind of just let it go one ear out the other. I've been constantly told that wrestling is extremely physically demanding. I enjoy acting. I love performing. I love to be in front of crowds. But, my dad always told me, like, this isn't theater. This isn't a film. Like, when you're down, you got to get back up and keep going. And I always kind of felt like, well, I can do it. But I wish I would have taken that more to heart, because I will say that when I first started training, it totally, literally, and figuratively took the air out of my poor body. And I was like, dude, this is a very painful and physically demanding sport. I have no regrets. It's not one of the things where I'm like, dude, I wish I didn't start this, but I wish I would have been more like prepared to know this isn't gonna tickle. But you know what? I'm pretty much used to it now, and I'm bumping around. So, but I think if I would have known that, maybe I would have went easier with my speed, or for example.
So to piggyback off that, I want to know your opinion on to those people that think wrestling is fake.
Oh, wrestling's not fake, man. I don't like the F word. I don't appreciate people that think it's fake. If it's so fake, everybody could come and do it and everybody would be good at it. And to be quite honest, it hurts very badly. I think that people that are like, oh, it's just fake, it's a fake fight. I mean, man, there's so many injuries that I know. There are injuries that I've seen people close to me have that I can only hope that don't happen to me. And if people think that's fake, I mean, the hospital doesn't lie.
Well, to those people, I say that you can't fake gravity, and I dare them to go to a wrestling school for a day or two to see if it's really fake. I bet you they'll quit.
That's right, they'll quit and they won't think it's fake when they're in the ring with the golden child. That's another promo for you.
So, what's in your future? What can we expect out of you in the next 3 years?
Well, in the next 3 years, I would love for you to be able to find me in a more mainstream spot. 3 years is a long time, but it goes by quick. So the only thing that I know that you can expect out of me is that when you look me up, you will be able to see more entertaining, free Evan Golden matches, and you guys should be able to have more content. I would love to do different styles within 3 years. I would love to do not only the Southern style I've been taught, but in 3 years, who knows? We could get some hardcore matches, cinematic matches. I'm so excited about the future that I'm willing to do anything. And in 3 years, yeah, I should be a little bit more mainstream. I don't know where I'll be wrestling or where I'll be, but you'll definitely be able to see more Evan Golden on YouTube's and other platforms. So,
Do you have any promotions that you're looking at to debut for?
well, so far the indie scene has been cool, but there are some more mainstream promotions that I feel like I could realistically go to. NWA is mentioned as a place that I would enjoy performing at. It's a very it's a style that I've grew up watching and that my dad has taught me. So I feel like that I could bring something to the table there. I don't know when that would be, but I think that would be a cool place to get the ball rolling. I also think, this is funny. A lot of people don't expect this out of a rising wrestler, but I think Impact would also be a cool place to go. But that's a little far-fetched. That might be a few years down the line. But if I could go to Impact, that seems like a cool place too. So those are two places that I think, like, dude, Evan Golden could fit in there.
I definitely think NWA can fit for you because, as you said, you have some connections there already.
Sure.
So I'm sure you can possibly get a tryout there in the future.
I hope so, buddy. And if I do, I'll be sure to tell you and the 5-Star Revolution podcast fans that it worked. And right now, though, as mentioned, it's back to the board. I'm going to keep training as hard as I can, keep getting booked, and just try to get better. And that way, when or if I do show up to a place like the NWA, I can bring a lot to the table.
So my last question for you, Mr. Golden, is what is your main goal? What are you looking to get out of this professional wrestling business?
Well, I think that I just want to be able to be I want to be able to be the kind of wrestler that people can look at and say he can do almost everything there is to do in wrestling. I don't want to be one trick pony. I don't want to have just one limited style. I want to be able to, as mentioned, do everything. If somebody wants to see me have even something like a cinematic match or something, I want to be able for people to be like, hey, Evan Golden should do that. And so I guess what I want to get out of it is I want to be a really well-rounded wrestler, and I want to be able to see people say, oh, if this is a match that can happen, the Golden Child should be in it because he might be able to do it. So I think it would be cool to just be a really versatile wrestler, and that's really all I want to get out of it. It's just to be well-rounded. So.
Well, you're young, you just started in this business, so you got years ahead of you. And if you keep training, I'm sure you can accomplish those goals, my friend.
Thanks, buddy. This has been really fun. It's been awesome, and I'm excited, like I said, to look back. Hopefully, we'll have accomplished those goals, and maybe I can come back on the show. That'd be. I'm back anytime, buddy.
Absolutely, man. I'll be glad to have you back on in the future. So, where can our fans, where can our listeners find you on social media?
Yeah, so you guys can find me on Instagram, Twitter, and Twitch at Evan the Blonde. That's Evan the Blonde with an E at the end. That's where I don't know where I got that. You can find me there, and yeah, I'm also on YouTube at Evan Golden, and that's where I'm going to try and put up a bunch of matches and such. So.
Well, there you go, folks. Go follow my friend on all those social media platforms that he just mentioned. Evan Golden, the Golden Child, right here on the 5-Star Revolution podcast. Make sure you subscribe and make sure you like our Facebook page, 5-Star Revolution Podcast. Mr. Evan Golden, we wish you the best of luck in your career and thank you so much for coming on my show.
Thank you for having me, my friend.
Take care, man.